It's the eve of the World Environment Day 2012. What is it that the steel sector teaches us? What is it that our rating, what is the big message from the steel sector rating? And what is it that we would like the Honorable Minister then to take away as a message in terms of what needs to be done? One of our points of worry that this steel sector has brought is, it is our worry that growth fever in this country is taking over the concern for environment. And if you look at sector by sector what we have analyzed, in 2005, when we rated the cement industry, and you can see the figure here, the score of the sector was as high as 36%. And the top industry got above 50% marks in the cement industry. And as environmentalists, we were quite surprised because we were quite stunned to see that Indian cement industry was performing so well in terms of environment. And yet, when we have come to the steel sector and the iron and steel sector, what has shocked us, Minister, is that the sector average is as low as 19%. Now, these sector averages, you must understand, are very comparable because we are doing each sector, but we are using the same rating benchmarks, we are giving the same weightages. So you have to be able to take our worry that we are concerned that in some senses the desire to expand, the desire to grow seems to be taking over the emphasis that is needed for the improvement of environment. And that is not acceptable. So the question that we have asked is, why are we slipping? Is it because environmental challenges are not worth investing in? Is it because we can boast about greenness because every industry today says that it is a green industry without any accountability? Or is it because drivers for change are weak? And if I was to give you an answer, I would say it's both no and yes. The fact is, and this, Mr. Myra, was quite a surprise for us, but you will say it's exactly what you would expect, is that in fact it pays to be green. The fact is that India is resource rich, has huge challenges, resource efficiency is critical. And what this sector shows is that if companies work at improving resource efficiency, they get an advantage of environment as well. So if you look at the top three companies, if you look at SR, if you look at Espat, and if you look at RINL, what surprised us was that all three companies work in an environment where the cost of raw material is very high and the cost of energy is very high. They have no captive mines. In fact, our data shows that these companies, the cost of raw material and energy could be as high as 30%, whereas in companies, and particularly, Minister, in this case, SAIL, the cost could be as low as 9% or even lower. So there's a complete uneven playing field. There's no level playing field, but the fact is, because they have higher cost of energy, higher cost of raw material, no captive mines, they've had to innovate. They've reduced energy use. The driver is economic. And environmental benefit is incidental. So that is something that comes out very clear in this sector. It's a point of advantage, but it's also a tremendous point of worry. The potential win-wins in this sector are enormous. If you reduce land requirements, as Chandrabhushan gave you, and you meet the best practice of 150 to 200 hectares per million tons, then actually you can account for all steel production in the country for 20 to 30 years. You will have no more Kalinga Nagars. You will not have to look for more land. You can actually optimize on your land tremendously. You can reduce water requirements. This is one industry which has a complete technological feasibility to becoming zero discharge. There is no reason why the next clearance you give, Minister, should say that not a single drop of water will be discharged from the industry. And if that happens, then you will see growth happening, but without tensions over water use. The growth today of RINL, it is going to have major tensions on water between Vizag city as well as other industry and farmers, which means that water efficiency has to become the internal driver for change. If you reduce waste, and again, what surprised me, please understand, for me, this was my first visit to steel companies, and I was amazed to see how much energy, fire, and smoke there is in steel. And I came back very impressed by the amount. I came back with a huge amount of, now I look at steel with a lot of respect. I have to say that to you, okay? I know what goes into making it. But it also told me that you can reduce your waste tremendously. In fact, what I understand is you don't need to have any waste. You can recycle and reuse all your waste other than your last bit of waste, steel manufacture plant waste, which again my colleagues tell me can be used in road making and other things. So that you can actually become a zero waste industry. And of course you can reduce your energy use, as we have seen companies do. So the question that we have to ask today is that technologies exist. It's economical to do so. Companies have high profits. This is not even a sector where companies do not have money. And yet it is not happening. And this is where our very strong conclusion is that if we want the next generation environmental regulations to improve, performance to improve, then we need much more stronger policy push. We need much more stronger regulatory enforcement. Today you have weak monitoring systems. Minister, and I know you're aware of this, you have very weak pollution control boards. So we need huge capacity upgradation in the institutions to manage our environmental systems. We need better environmental clearance systems which actually push industry to improve. And if we don't have that, then we will continue to have, as I said, a lot of talk about green, but actual performance will be very, very wanting. In our conclusion, we do believe that disclosure is a very important tool which makes a difference. And there is a clear correlation between companies who want to share information publicly and their green performance. And in this case, Mr. Maira, SAIL has been severely wanting. And it is something that you have to take, we hope we will take it up with government to say, how come we have such gross inefficiencies in this sector and a company which is not willing to even share basic information. We believe that the regulations must be proactive, Minister. The roadmap for green steel is clear. We are presenting to you that roadmap and saying it is possible for us to grow and expand, but without the kind of horrible environmental impact that we are seeing today. We are also presenting to you benchmarks on what you could do. And now what we would really hope we will see is that environmental clearances will incorporate these roadmaps so that new steel plants and old are driven deliberately towards better technologies and best practices. At the eve of World Environment Day 2012, I think the most important roadmap for the future is that we need to re-energize our policy and regulatory systems so that we can actively push for change. And secondly, we need to invest in public disclosure and public scrutiny, because green rating projects only credit successes based on the fact that if you have rigorous information and if you can use public disclosure as a tool, you can actually see performance improving. And if that could be the way ahead across India, then perhaps next year when we meet on the eve of World Environment Day, we will all have something more to boast about. Thank you very much.